Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your
hosts,
Mike.
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic.
Did you know that everything these days is about race?
Certainly what the media makes it sound like.
Everything. Like this Kyle Rittenhouse verdict about a month ago. He, if you don't remember, this was the kid that was in Wisconsin, and it was in the town where that Jacob Blake guy got shot in the back, and so they were protesting out in the streets, and it was the second night of protesting, and he was there, and they immediately, he ended up shooting 3 people, killing 2, and they immediately painted him out to be a white supremacist who was there hunting black people. And there's even media outlets that to this day are reporting that he killed 3 black people. Okay, so,
that's pretty spectacular.
They clearly didn't pay any, this is a journalistic organization, and they paid no attention to the actual trial.
Considering he killed 2 white people, one of which was a child molester, and both of which attacked him.
And injured the 3rd white person, and they all attacked him. It was a clear-cut case of self-defense. And I'll tell you,
case caught on video.
Well, yeah, I was going to say. So in the beginning, when I heard all about this, there was just like the odd video of like this angle or that angle. And while my gut told me that he probably was defending himself, I couldn't really determine that from the videos that I saw. So I kind of kept my opinion to myself. I was like, well, he probably did use self-defense, but I could still change my mind based on what other video I see. So then went a long time, and then I saw that the New York Times had put together a video, and their initial attempt was to show that he was a white supremacist and that, he was there hunting black people. But, of course, the facts, they don't care about your platform. They don't care about what party you belong to. They don't care about your political ideology, right? Facts don't care about any of that.
Don't give
Facts
2 shits.
fucking care about one thing and one thing only.
Themselves,
the truth.
selfish bitches.
And when you talk about what's the truth is what the facts tell you, right? So, So, first of all, as you pointed out, these are 3 white people, and they're going to say, well, but they were there defending black people, and that's why he shot them. That's going to be their thing. But that's, boy, talk about stretching it. You can't take your narrative and then apply it to everything. The facts have to fit the narrative for the narrative to fly. It's really that simple. And it is a clear-cut case. He wasn't there illegally because apparently he was allowed to have the gun.
Which is why the charge was dismissed. And even the prosecutor agreed on that. Okay. Right.
So there's that situation. And then the rest of it was he in fear for his life or not? And the kid testified that he was in fear for his life. You can say whether you believe he was crying or for real or not. I don't really care. All I care about is what the facts say. Because again, the facts don't care about your emotions either. You can cry or not cry. I don't care. If you don't cry and the facts say that you're not guilty, then I'm going to say you're not guilty. Even if you don't cry. You don't have to cry for me to say you're not guilty. It's pretty straight blipping forward.
Okay, got it. I agree.
So there's that. Okay,
that.
But then there was like right away after that, there was this Andrew Coffey guy who, to be honest, was in a much worse situation. I mean, they found drugs and stuff at the house, and he did have to face charges for that. But he was charged with 5 counts of murder and attempted murder because he didn't know it was the police coming down on him, and he fought back and he killed some and shot and injured 1 or 2, and he was a black man. These were white cops, and he was found not guilty because of self-defense. Same exact thing. One was a white guy, one was a black guy. Same exact thing. But nobody reports on that widely because it doesn't fit their narrative at all. Okay,
right.
It just doesn't fit their narrative. And at the end of this,
I had never heard his name until you started mentioning it.
Yeah. And then just recently, Ahmaud Arbery, he was murdered at the hands of these three guys. And originally the racist prosecutor wasn't going to file the charges, but we say the system works, right? Let's explain why the system does work. That prosecutor was removed from her job by the voters. She was then indicted by a grand jury for her poor handling of that situation and basically dereliction of duty. And these guys did get charged, and these guys did sit on trial, and these guys were all found guilty.
Of all the things.
They're going to jail for life. They're never getting out of jail after this. And that's 3 cases right in a row. Now, does that mean that the system is perfect? Hell, effing no, the system isn't perfect. I know the system's not perfect, and you know the system's not perfect. But it isn't broken in the way people are saying.
Right. It's inefficient in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And unreliable in a few others.
Extremely unreliable. And I mean, like, the rules a lot of times seem to be, like, more and more lax, and people can get away with more and more and more when they go to court. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's cool. I don't think they should be allowed that. But the other kind of sort of, bottom line point to this is that these people continue to make the case that Kyle Rittenhouse crossed state lines with an illegal weapon and was hunting black people.
There are still news organizations reporting that this man who crossed state lines illegally with an illegal firearm murdered black people. So I saw one the other day.
Exactly. So here's what I want to say going forward is that, it is now 2022.
Oh.
So
that happened.
Happy flipping New Year, everybody. And here you are with a nightly rant for the 3rd New Year. Yeah, I think it's about
so.
3. Yeah. This is the 3rd New Year that because we started right before a New Year.
Yeah.
And then so that was the first one, and then we've been 2 full years. So yeah, makes sense.
Wow.
That's a long time, people. That's a long time. I mean, we're up there in episodes. We're getting closing in on 430.
Yowza.
That's a lot of episodes, that's a lot of episodes. But I want people to start looking into these things on their own with an open mind. I want them to try. I have faith that society, if they start to pay attention to this, will do that. Because see, right here, people, I don't care what you say. You can't argue that the system didn't work, because the system worked exactly how the system should work. And the people who should have gotten away with whatever happened based on the law got away with it. And here's the key point, right? What can you do if you don't like the law?
Petition for it to be changed?
Exactly. Change the law. You don't like the law? Change the law.
Seems reasonable.
But going around saying the law's racist and the people that are, all the jurors are racist, I don't understand how race had anything to do with a white man shooting 3 white men.
Right.
Maybe
he's a white-hating white man.
I mean, if the evidence said that he hated white men, great, but was there ever any evidence presented to that case? No.
I'm pretty sure he just disliked people who were assaulting him with their skateboards.
And trying to kill him. Yeah. One of the people,
and trying to steal his gun.
The first person that got shot apparently had said to him at another spot that if I catch you alone, I'm going to kill you.
Nice.
So tell me that 17-year-old kid wasn't scared at that point.
Yeah.
And from what I can tell, I watched some of his interviews after the fact, and he seems mortified by what happened.
Yeah, he's going to need some therapy, I think.
He's not just like the, oh, well, it happened, I survived, cool kind of kid. Mm-mm. They're saying he may have to change his name in order to go to college.
Yeah. Yep.
But you know what? Some dumbass media outlet will get a hold of what his new name is, and they'll publicize it. You watch. Yep. Then he'll get beat up by somebody, and then there's another lawsuit. I just can't. I just can't. So my hope for the new year is that the COVID crazy people start to learn what moderation is. This is the classic thing we talk about on this show all the damn time. You get asked the question, do you like apples? Which do you like more? Right? That's the question. Which do you like more? apples or oranges?
Pears.
Oh, I like oranges more. So you don't like apples? Well, that's not, I mean, I could like oranges 99.9% and I could like apples 99.8%. See, they're right there.
I could like oranges more today.
Exactly. And
Whereas
apples
last
more
week
tomorrow.
I like apples more.
Exactly. And so they have this thing that if you don't agree 100% with what they say, then you 100% disagree with what they say.
Right. And that's just nuts.
And it's crazy because it creates this combative relationship with people. Like everybody that they meet, they get into a battle with. And that's not conducive to a peaceful, gentle, kind society.
Or a society that's capable of agreeing on anything ever. Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you on that because in order to agree, you have to listen to each other because you can't
really
possibly
aren't
agree.
capable of
And people don't listen to each other. They just talk right over you.
And you know what? The Canadians I used to give the benefit of the doubt to because they don't, Canadians don't generally marry themselves to a political party. I'm not giving them that benefit anymore. They're just as asshatty as everyone else.
Well, but see, and this is why I get to the COVID people. Just because I think, a vaccine mandate is asinine doesn't mean I don't believe in the vaccine.
Right.
It doesn't mean that I want COVID to spread everywhere. I'm just realistic. The CDC tells you that people who are vaccinated can still get COVID and spread it to others. So, I mean, that's no different, than the people who didn't get vaccinated. And then people say, but they'll go in the hospital. Well, if they're going to get a more severe case, wasn't that their choice to make? Like, that's where it's coming from for me.
Doesn't it?
And I think to myself, if it pretty much eliminates your risk of death by having the vaccine. Great. So you have the vaccine. Now, if someone who doesn't have the vaccine gets you sick, well, that sucks, but you're not going to die. But hey, guess what? That same shit's been going on with the flu season for years. How about the common cold? Exactly. Okay, now these things may not be as deadly, but what did we just say? Having the vaccine means you're not going to die. So if it means you're not going to die, so it does become just the same inconvenience as the common cold and the flu because you're not going to die. So I don't understand what, I'm hoping that in 2022 that these people realize that there's also nothing saying that they can't only associate with people who are vaccinated. They could do that. Fucking people this past holidays did that with their families. Oh, you're not vaccinated, Uncle John? Well, you can't come to the family Christmas gathering.
Exactly.
And I think that blows chunks as well. I honor and respect their right to handle their business that way.
You know what I don't ask other people about? Their private medical records in order for them to come to my family get-together.
But I also respect the right of people to ask that question and to take I'm not answering that as a no. I respect their right to do that. But that doesn't make them correct. And it doesn't mean it was the right way to handle it. It just means it was their way to handle it.
I want to associate with.
Well, exactly. But that's a choice you get to make. They get to make a choice who comes to their party.
True.
That's everyone's choice.
All the
and I think that's the thing that I don't understand is I don't want to associate with someone. This is their saying. I don't want to associate with someone who isn't vaccinated. Okay. So why do you have to?
Right. Just like I don't want to associate myself with somebody who is a vaccine-pushing nutbag.
Or take it a step further. I don't want to associate with white supremacists. So if one of my friends suddenly became a white supremacist, they wouldn't be my friend anymore.
I'm out. You're too far that direction for me.
And that's the point. You have that choice to make. You don't have to associate with non-vaccinated people if you don't want to. But that doesn't mean that you should force everyone to be vaccinated. Because by the same token, you're not going to associate with everyone. So why do you care if everyone is vaccinated? Yeah. And that's my rant. I wish that people would honor the freedoms of others a little bit more and stop trying to shame people into saying that they value their freedom more than human life, because that's a bunch of crap. Because really the only human life they're endangering is other people who've made the choice not to get vaccinated.
So that's your wish for 2022?
Yes, I want to see
anything
more
else?
That's all for me. I still don't know what you thought about all this crazy media.
I agree with you. That's why I didn't have too much to say. Like, you're saying my brain thoughts, which is why I just giggled and yep.
They just right. They just have to. They just have to realize that sometimes the system's going to work and sometimes it's not.
Right.
And when it doesn't work, If it's a law that you didn't like, well, then fix the law.
Yeah,
Don't try to. That's what makes me mad is people get mad at me when I state facts.
My wish for 2022 is that the media will take a giant stab at only reporting actual facts they know.
Yes.
Rather than adding their bullshit conjecture and opinions into every single news article.
Recently, I saw on a subreddit, for one of the local areas, I saw somebody post a picture of a restaurant. It was clearly an old picture because you can kind of tell how people have changed their signs over the course of the pandemic. So it's kind of an old picture, but it was basically saying that they require masks, and they require masks, but if you don't want to wear a mask, you have to have your temperature taken.
Okay.
And I said maybe, maybe they should just take everyone's temperature since masks are only 10% effective.
Okay.
And man, I got downvoted like crazy. I had people saying, "Oh, you pulled that out of your ass." And then I post the facts that point to the study that says that it only reduced the transmission by 10%.
Facts hurt their feelings.
And they don't even apologize. They don't respond. They don't do anything because it doesn't fit their narrative. And that's the problem with society in general today is everything has to fit your narrative or you don't believe it.
I would like to see a news article that says President Biden tripped going up the stairs. Not President Biden is super old and has Alzheimer's and this idiot tripped going up the stairs. I don't need the conjecture. The president tripped going up the stairs. Yeah. That's your headline.
Yeah, because that's what actually happened.
My wish for 2022.
Well, like I was going to say, like it's like, the kids in school. They have a class. They sit in class and they listen. They interpret what's said. Mm-hmm. Either they learn it or they don't. They take a test. Well, that test gauges how well they learned it, right? Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing here. People are being tested on how alert they are. And if all they're doing is listening to what the media tells them and they're not bothering to look at there was so much video evidence of this Rittenhouse thing. So much video evidence that you just don't have any doubt in your mind. But yet they have a doubt in their mind because it doesn't fit their narrative or their leader's narrative. And that's, the next thing is going to come out of this, right? He's going to start suing people for libel and slander, and they're going to say those laws should change too, and that they shouldn't be allowed to do that because they want to be able to say whatever the hell they want to be able to say and not have any responsibility for it
until somebody says it about them.
So that's all I got to say. I think 2022 is going to be a much better year than 2020 or 2021. But it's kind of sad that we went through a whole year of 2020 in a pandemic.
And 2021.
And now 2021 in a pandemic. And here we are in 2022, still in a pandemic.
I'm over it. Unfortunately, I don't think either of our wishes for 22 will come true. So there's my pessimist sticking out. But on that really dark and spidery note, good night, everyone.
Hasta la bye-bye, 2021.
Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.